And we're going to get right into doing the demo today. So a while back, someone said, please list up front the tools that we're using to do this. So my main tools that I'm using today will just be any Creative Grids ruler or any ruler that gives you a 45. Not necessary, but helpful. I'm going to use the precision piecing pen. The glue is a must, and a marking pen. So the techniques that we're going to show you today apply to table runners, placemats, and definitely quilts. So when you have your table runner done or your quilt done, the first thing you have to do is measure your length. You need to have an accurate measurement from one point to the next point. So I have measured from this point plus my 1/4 inch all the way to this point plus my 1/4 inch. When you're cutting borders to miter, you need that length plus you need the width of your border twice. So it's length. Does she have to go out?
No.
Okay. Willa's a little unhappy this morning, so bear with us. She's a good girl. So length plus width, and the width has to be 2 times. Now, when I do mine, I actually make it even a little bit longer than that because you want wiggle room to get those beautiful 45 miters. So as you can see on mine just happened that I had this much extra. I have this much extra on the end, which is fine. You know, it's really not waste. You'll put it into something, but you need that little bit of extra. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to measure your binding, find your center or your border, measure your border and find your center. That center is going to line up to the quilt. So you have to find, all right, let's start at this again.
Willow's a little distracting with her whining this morning.
You want me to let her out?
No.
Okay, so you have to find the center of your quilt length that you're looking for. So you're going to just fold your quilt or your runner in half, find your center, mark it with a straight pen or a marking pen. Then you're going to go from your center of your quilt to the end of your quilt, and you're going to mark it. So I'm going to go from my center, and I'm going to find the 3rd way mark. So I need a point in the center and at the 3rd way mark on both ends. You are going to divide your border and mark to those measurements. So when you put your borders on, like we've done here, when you put your borders on, I'll just fold this out. Hang on. I already pressed all of these, so we'll just fake it because I can still show you this way. All right, so the first thing I did was I took my runner and I folded it in half. Where's my, right to here. So this is a super easy way to do this. Fold it in half from your edges, pin mark or marking pen mark. Fold it in half again and pin mark to this. You need to match that measurement to your border and pin mark or marking pen mark your borders, because those measurements have to lay on top nice and flat. If you don't do that and you start putting your borders on and you've not measured correctly, you're going to get a quilt that is skewed off or in. And Gabe can tell you from first-hand experience when he's quilting these, if you don't measure your borders correctly, you can bring your quilt back into square. But once you've sewn those borders on and you've thrown it off square, you're done.
There's nothing we can do about it.
We can't fix it. So many long armers get together and they talk about that. This is one of the biggest complaints they have, is that when you put your borders on, it throws your quilts out of square because you have not measured and sewn it on to keep it in square. That's the most important thing of finishing your quilt properly. Once you've done that, what I did was I glue all of these on. I used, like I've shown you in the past, I simply laid the border on top, matching my pin marks. I ironed them together to make sure they were nice and flat, and then I went along and I glue basted the entire seam. I didn't leave one open to show you, but we've shown you that in the past. So you're going to glue baste these together so they don't shift on you when you're sewing. The other thing that I personally do when I'm sewing my borders on is I use my walking foot. Even if I'm glue basting, I use my walking foot to put it on because that will walk across, because some of your fabrics have so much stretch. Even if you glue baste it on, the whole thing can stretch. So use your walking foot if you have one. If you don't have one, just go slower and be more methodical in how you feed it through your foot. So once you have that, so then when you sew your borders on, you stop. Let's show right here. You stop 1/4 of an inch from your end. You have to have a nice 1/4 inch. You want those two seams to match up really, really nice, because we're going to show you how to do the next step right now. So once you've done that on all your corners, this is the coolest thing. So it's going to be right side up to do this. Right side up. I've got everything all pressed. Ooh, this one didn't get pressed. Okay, so let's just press this. I know I put the acorn on. Let's just press this. Maybe I didn't put the acorn on. Okay, here, let's just go back. We have to put the acorn on our seam. All right, put the acorn on. No, I guess I didn't. I left this one open to show you. I should have left the one open to show you gluing too. Here, get it right to the end. You want your seams nice and flat. This tip is really stiff, which is fine. Is it going in?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
you want to make sure that it's soaked in really good. Okay. I'm going to just finger press it back like I showed you in the past. I just finger press it back. I'm going to let it set in for a few minutes. There must be a rabbit outside or something. Okay, let it set in. Let's just give it a press. Oh, look how nice and flat that is. Isn't that beautiful? I love flat seams. All right, let's get it all the way to the end. And as you can see, I'm 1/4 of an inch from each corner on both sides. Okay, cord's caught. All right, so here, everyone steers away from miters because they think they are so hard. So this one I'm going to lay out flat like this. Look how nice and flat that is laying. And I'm going to take my top one like this, and I'm laying it nice and square over the top. I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to pull it under until it matches up there. Look at that. See how simple that corner is? And it's laying flat. Look at how even this centerpiece is lining up. The little joint there. And these are laying flat together here. So the next thing I'm going to do, make sure that this is nice because you don't want any bubbles when you're done. This is nice and flat. That's nice and straight. My corners are lined up. Make sure that we're flat underneath. And we are. And I'm going to press that crease. I'm going to press that crease right in. You want that? I'm not using my acorn here yet. You could, but I'm not. You could spritz it if you wanted. Okay. Here, let's move this back. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue, making sure we're lined up, and I'm going to put a dab of glue right here Does that show up, Gabe?
Mm-hmm.
And just along my edge, bring it out just a little bit more. Let's get in here. Little pin. So now I use a little bit more on here than I would on normally, and then I'm going to hold it in place, get it with my glue. Now you have glued that miter in place. It is glued. It's not going to go anywhere. So then I'm going to let it cool for just a minute because I don't want it to pull apart. It's just really, really cool to do that way. All right, I can't get the cap back on. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this back so that you have exposed your seam now. So this whole line is running, and you know you're on your 45, just like that. Now you can see your crease mark, but if you have lighting in your room, like my lighting is not very good in my sewing room, and you can't see that crease, then mark it. So I'll take my my Frixon pen, and I don't mind using Frixon here because it's on the underside of my quilt. I am not. The other thing I'm going to do here too is make sure that these are going in the same direction. You want to fold that seam down like this. Can you see that, Gabe?
Mm-hmm.
So I brought those together on both sides, and you're going to run a line. This is really cool. So I'm making sure that my crease that I made is right in line with the ruler, and you can actually do this. It's quite cool.
And it should match up with the 45 degree on,
yes,
on the ruler.
So
You had it right.
I had it right.
Yep, put that on there. Just slide it
Oh,
up.
there you go. See? Gabe, I didn't see that one.
Yep.
See, there's your 45 line. It's lining up perfectly with the crease that you creased. See how easy this is? Anyone can do this. So I'm just going to draw my crease line. Whoops, keep it on there. Yeah, it's slipping on me. Thanks, Gabe. Okay, now you can see your crease line. I'm off the crease line. I want that crease line right there. I don't want that one to come out. I want the inside one because that little bit can make your corners wobble. Okay, so there we go. You can see that we've done that line. So you're going to take this now to your sewing machine. This is the only time I pin. I'm going to pin these in place till I get them sewn. I just want to make sure that my glue doesn't come out or my borders do not shift. That's the only time I pin anymore. I'm going to take this to the machine and I'm going to sew that seam. Do you want me to do it on the other corner just to redo it 2 times?
We'll show them what you've got, and then we'll do it again.
Okay. So when you get done with that, this one's already sewn, and you can't see my lines or anything, but it is sewn. And what you're going to do then is turn it over. Let's do this one. There's your perfect miter. There's your perfect mitered corner. Now this is wrinkled because it was folded up. Let's give it a shot of, let's give it a little shot of heat. And this is where you can use your acorn. Use your acorn on that. There's your perfect miter.
Just remember that when you've glued, because you've glued on the outside the way you have, the glue may go out into it a little bit, and you may need to separate the corners just a little bit when you're all done. Yeah.
This one I actually glued in deeper. It doesn't matter. It should be closer to the edge, but this is a really nice miter here, and I would prefer to use the acorn on that to get it nice and flat. Okay, so we can turn this over now, and we'll show you another little trick. So I discovered this accidentally when we were working on someone else's quilt. She couldn't get her miters, so she asked me to do them. So we found that here, it's glued. Mm-hmm. See, I'm pulling it apart. It's glued. See how easy it pulls apart? Just make sure you get them all the way down because you want to press this seam open. So you want to press your seam open We've got that going there. I'm going to use my pen. I love my pen. So let's just do this on this side. I'm going to do it on the other side because I am pressing my seam open. What?
We got people asking for the runner when you're done.
Oh. I'm going to make a second one. I love this. I'm going to make one for Amanda, who loves to put out runners on her beautiful table. Okay, you can see that it's there. So we're going to open this up again. I'm just going to finger press, and look how look at the difference that made by doing that. Then it's white, it's hard to see, but you can see how these edges fold down, and this lays flat here, so you don't have a big knot here. And I had to sew with white thread because it is doable, but
you can see the stitching.
You can see the stitching. Okay, so now look how flat that's laying compared to before. Isn't that awesome? I love flat seams. Okay, I'm just going to hit it with the iron. Now, one of the things that we discovered is on some of the quilts, I leave this on, just like this. We'll trim these off, and I leave this extra fabric on behind because it gives this corner for the quilter more stability. And because it's dark, it's not shadowing through. So I've had Gabe do several of mine with this on. So all I do is trim this off square. So here, I'll show you. Normally I would use my rotary cutter, but I'll just show you right now. I'm going to trim this off square. So when he goes to quilt this on his long arm, I'll have that beautiful squared off corner. So when you put your ruler back on here, look how in square that is. Look how in, does it show, Gabe?
Mm-hmm.
So I literally will glue this back in place for him and leave it right on, and he'll quilt it that way. It doesn't shadow through. You can barely see it in the corner, but it gives it that really nice, perfect square. So when you go to bind this now, your binding will actually line up with your miter.
Now, if you've done bright white or thin white borders,
yes,
you may want to lay it on your batting.
Right.
And just double check to see if it is going to shadow through. If it is going to shadow through and you don't want that in there,
right,
then trim it like you would normally. Trim it to 1/4 of an inch and then press them open.
Yes. Do press your miters open, please. Yes.
Yep.
Press your miters open. That's what makes it lay so perfectly flat. So I'm going to, you want me to do it one more time?
Do one more time.
Okay. Yep.
You got one more to do?
I did one where we can press it open, and I have another one we can actually do the refold again.
Let's do the refold.
Let's do the refold, because you guys can, that's not a hard.
Let's do the refold.
All right. Again, we have sewn. Here, I'm going to open this, wait, undo this one. We have sewn to our 1/4 inch. You can see in here, there's a, whoops, this came unstitched a little bit. So you have to make sure that this is stitched right to the 1/4 inch. So we're going to lay this one underneath, nice and flat. And we're going to take this one to the top. And again, the trick is pick up your top one, fold it under. I'm going to have to hold that down and line it up so that your raw edges are even here and your raw edges are even here. So when I go to crease this down now, it automatically falls into place. I'm not doing any fancy measuring. I'm not putting my borders together first. There's so many different techniques, but this, I've done this one for absolutely years and it works out every time. Okay, so now I'm going to press it. I really like where that is. I'm going to press it in place. I'm not using the acorn yet. You could, but you could mist it in place. Now I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to go underneath, and I'm doing a few extra dots when I'm doing the borders. I just want, normally I do every couple inches, but here I'm making sure I don't want it to shift on me. Okay, so let's heat set that. This is so fun. I so enjoyed doing this quick project. Okay, so we've heat set it. Then again, the only time I pin is now, because I don't want these to flop around on me. Isn't that a good description? Flop around. Picture a fish flopping around on a dock. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to pull this up. You're going to, oh, that actually showed up really nice. Put your raw edges together. Make sure that you have your seam out flat like that. And it's not buckling, it's not going anywhere. So again, our 45 is right here. So you can just bring this up. And the 45 is laying right on the raw edge. This is right on the crease line, and we're going to mark. But the two main tips is you have to make sure, there you go, to sew to 1/4 of an inch of the end of your seam. You have to stop. If you don't stop, it's not going to lay flat. If you stop too soon, it's going to have a little buckle in that corner. It's not going to give you that nice, flat, even corner. So then you're going to sew from here to here. And I do backstitch. I don't just chain off when I'm doing my miters, because when you're pressing, they can pull apart a little bit. So I do a few locking stitches here and a few locking stitches there. So we've done that. We've taken it to our ironing board. We are going to come over here. This one is sewn out flat. This one we've done. So here we go. This is nice and flat here. You can see how this all, I haven't even pressed them yet. I just wanted to show you how nice and flat and nice and square.
That's just with the glue.
This is not glue, this is sewn.
Oh, that one's sewn.
This one's sewn.
Okay.
I can show you on the other one with the glue.
Yeah, let's show the glue, what it looks like with just the glue.
Okay, with just the glue. We can show you with just the glue. Because these have just been glued. So here you go. This one has just been glued. And it's still laying nice and flat. So again, we'll go back to the other one. That's how it's laying nice and flat. So let's go back to this one and show you again how to trim it down. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to use my acorn pen. I'm going to run it along both sides because I want to press my seam open. This is going to be cool because you'll see where it was glued again. Did I get it on both sides? I don't have my glasses on. There we go.
Kathy, the measurement for the borders is all the way around. You have to do it on all four sides.
Yes.
You can't just do one side or you'll be really short and you'll have to box your corner.
Right. No, measure all your sides and make sure that the sides are the same. So on your long quilt, you have to make sure that this measurement and this measurement are the same, and you might have to do some adjusting. They should be pretty close. The same across the top and the same across the bottom. Those measurements need to match, and these measurements need to match. Divide your quilt into thirds. Divide your border into thirds minus what you've added on, and match your marks.
The other question is Elmer's glue. I have no idea what Elmer's glue is going to do to your fabric. I will not use Elmer's glue on my quilt. I don't know what it's going to do to your iron. I can't recommend it.
Elmer's glue is not a basting glue.
It's not a basting glue. This is truly a basting glue. I'm going to do a close-up on it so you can actually read what it says. This is Precision Piecing Products. It is the Gentle Seam Hold Alignment Glue for fabric. It pulls out, it resets, it doesn't washes your fabric. Out.
No, I will not use Elmer's glue on my borders or bindings. This is temporary. If you don't like where you put it, it also does not turn hard, and Elmer's glue can turn hard. This stays soft.
Yes.
If you don't wash your quilt for a long time, it still stays soft.
Yep. I can ship the glue. It is available online. Yep. And for those of you that have been waiting, the 4-ounce refills are back in stock.
Yes, lots of them. I figured I'd order in tons because it's the first of the year. We got plenty. All right, so the next step again, remember, is we're going to open this up now, and you're going to see that the glue is just gently pulling apart. See that? It's just a gentle pull apart. And there we go. I'm going to finger press. And I'm going to make sure that these are laying down so that my tip is up. And I'm going to press it on this side.
And yes, all of this heart fabric is available.
Yes, we have bundles.
So I will show the
Yes.
fabric as soon as we're done, and we will also tell you what the pricing is on the pillow forms. Since we forgot that at the beginning, I saw a question about it at the beginning. We need to answer that one.
So I'll write it in the comments later.
Okay.
I'll write the pricing on the pillow forms because I don't have one up here. I do have I don't. The one we opened, I don't have the sample up here. All right, so there's your miter. I'm going to turn it over really quick so you can see the other side. And I'll probably give it another little press, but look how nice that is. Look how nice and square that is. You guys are the true testament because I haven't checked this. It looks really good. The lines here are even, the lines there are even, the lines here and here are going square across.
And that really is the best way to check if you've done it right. And you can actually do that before you sew it.
Oh, absolutely. You've glued it in place.
You've glued it in place.
Over,
you can check it with your ruler beforehand.
Yeah.
And then you know when you go to sew, then you can peel the glue apart if it doesn't work.
Right, and re-glue.
And you haven't done, and you can double check and glue. That's the beauty of the glue, is the glue allows you to check and reposition and check and reposition. So
I just ran the ruler 1/4 of an inch off here because I wanted a straight line here. So look, if you'll look down in here, that is straight on, and it's straight on up here. So that is right. Even Stephen, again, like I have said in the past, it does not have to be perfect to be amazing. That is our new store motto, besides never too busy to pass out a smile. It does not have to be perfect to be amazing. Do the best you can do and love it. All right, everyone. Have an amazing week.
Happy quilting, everybody.
Bye-bye.